Welcome back and happy Thursday. It's exactly 1 week before Thanksgiving, you guys. And time is just flying by. I guess this is a good thing though, because I'm keeping up. Definitely keeping up. And I'm not wearing my traditional African necklace today because, guys, it broke. I guess I wore it out too many times, so I'm gonna have to get it fixed or buy a new one. But anywho, I'm always inspired to do these videos, you guys. Like, I think I never lack inspiration when it comes to creating, from writing to doing videos to whatever that I do. I always am inspired by different things in life to create and bring these videos to you guys. So here's another topic, being an ass kisser. So this video inspiration actually came from an interaction that I've been having, or several interactions that I've had with my supervisor at my prac site. Because yesterday actually we had a site visit. I think it went well. Overall, I think from my end of the table, I think it went well because I believe that my concerns were heard, somewhat validated, but the training director from my school came out. I think she mainly wanted to just operate as a mediator, so it's not that she really took my side. I don't know if she took my supervisor's side or whatever. When I say supervisor, okay, I have actually two supervisors. I have a immediate supervisor and I have the training director who's over both of us. And she met with the training director, so I'm not sure, like, if she took whatever. I don't think it's really about taking sides. I think it was mainly about hearing both sides of the story and coming to a mediation so that we can continue with our relationship. And more importantly, that I can get the training and the hours that I need for my prac, and not only that, but so that obviously they can benefit because I'm giving them free labor. Like, these hours I'm giving them are free. We don't get paid for this. And I've already developed relationships with my clients. We're already in the middle of therapy, so it wouldn't make no sense to just say, all right, snatch her up out of there and remove the therapist from the clients. No, that ain't gonna happen. Because, like I said, therapy is going great on that end. That's not the issue. It's more about supervision type of issues. And I'm going to talk about that in this video. I already briefly touched on those issues, like here and there in other videos. But yeah, I'm going to go a little bit into more depth. So during the site visit, like I said, I think it went well. But my training director from my school, she just wanted to, like, make sure I guess she was looking out for me, right? And just, like, keep me abreast on what I can expect going forward. Not that I really didn't know this, but she just, I guess, reminded me that, of course, my evaluation is coming up. We have 2 evaluations throughout the year. So we have the midterm evaluation, and then we have the end of the year evaluation, which is going to happen, like, at the end of my practicum in July. And she pointed me to the section of the evaluation that assesses like professionalism and my ability to establish professional relationships with my supervisor. And I'm like, I think I already knew. It's kind of crazy because I have very great instincts. No surprise. I mean, my name is Danielle, and it's like named after the prophet in the Bible. So I kind of sometimes do see in the future. Like, some of you guys who aren't spiritual religious are like, what? She's saying to the future? Yes, I can sometimes predict things before they happen. I can see things before they happen, So I knew, like, it was when she opened up, she was flipping through the pages, and I kind of knew that she was going to go there. I knew that. And so I was very much prepared for it. And when she was talking about it, she was like, yeah, and she was reading, like, the lines that I'm going to be evaluated on. So she was reading, I think it was like several different statements that she was reading that I'm going to be evaluated on. And she was like, yeah, I just wanted to bring this to your attention, something that you can be aware of. And I'm like, okay. So, like, I already know this, I mean, it may sound like, okay, I don't care, but no, I do care. but that's not going to change my perspective and my truth. I mean, yeah, you can say that I'm going to be evaluated on those things, and yes, yes, I am concerned because I think brought that to her attention that yeah, I'm kind of concerned how this is going to impact my evaluation. So maybe that's probably why she brought the template for the evaluation, the form, to this site visit, which I find it quite ironic that the site visit it's the site visit. It's supposed to be about the site. Given that this training director at my school, this is her first time even checking out this site, right? And also given that not too many students from my school train at this site, so this focus of the site visit was really supposed to be about the site. Ironically, I'm like, how convenient that my supervisor, the training director at the site, manipulated it into being about the focus of being about me and certain concerns that she has, or her and my immediate supervisor has about me. I'm like, how convenient. How convenient. But yeah, I'm like, okay, I know that's going to be evaluated on that. I mean, that's part of the evaluation. But I guess I'm speaking so confidently because I know what I bring to the table. I know the work that I put in. I know the sacrifices that I've made, and that, not to say there's not room for improvement, because I recognize that too, but no one can tell me that, oh, I'm just not this or not. Like, no, I know what the hell I do. I don't need her to say those things, although it would be nice for them to compliment me on what I am doing right or well, but they don't do it. They don't come out their mouth. It's all about nitpicking and criticizing. You get what I'm saying? And I think that's the biggest issue, which is causing this barrier in our relationship, which ultimately, obviously, impacts the supervision, the learning process that I have with my supervisor. And by the way, how you guys doing? How y'all doing? Y'all might be quiet down there. But so I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna change my stance. My stance is my stance, man, and I'm taking it to the grave. Because it's truth, it's facts, and one thing y'all ain't gonna do, you ain't gonna do, is sit up here and just treat me any kind of way just because I'm a so-called intern. Like, no. And I think there's this perception that supervisors have of interns, like they just treat them any kind of way and very disrespectful. And interesting how, like, my learning process at this clinical site, it kind of parallels. Hi, Charlize, how you doing? It kind of parallels what I'm learning in my family therapy class. Like, I don't know if my professor watches my videos. I doubt it. I really doubt it. But it's just ironic that it's like he's always like head on. I'm like, how the hell he know that I'm going through this? Because he mentioned how there are two researchers, and just that, I wrote the researcher's name down just that fast. I forgot the name. Okay. But he said there are very prominent researchers in the area of supervision, and he said that the number one complaint that these researchers found of interns complain about or mention is that their supervisors are disrespectful and that they are demeaning. And I'm like, interesting. Because that's right on with what I'm experiencing. What's up, Tanisha? What's up, cousin? What's up? I'm going to be out there in New York in December, mid-December. I'm going to be out there for 3 weeks. So I think I still got your number, but I did get a new phone, so I got to double check. I might need to get your number again because I did get a new phone, and all my numbers, they went somewhere. So, yeah, and so I'm like, how ironic, like that's so interesting. And y'all let me know if y'all can relate to this, because I know, yes, I'm a student working towards my PhD, and I'm getting my hours for my my practicum within my PhD to become a psychologist. But this issue that I'm talking about, a lot of y'all can relate, because a lot of people have supervisors. People need to learn to treat people like they want to be treated. That's exactly. A lot of us have supervisors, man, and I'm pretty sure y'all going through the same thing. And I'll be the first to say that just because, yes, you work for a company, you have a supervisor, you have a boss, don't mean that they should be treating you any kind of way. It ain't gonna happen like that. Like, especially not with me, man. That's where it's gonna be some problems. And I started my practicum September 5th at this site, and we talking about November 15th. So just October, November, 2 months. 2 months into my practicum, like boom, and this is like a year-long practicum. I think it's like 10 months long, and already this, I'm like, no surprise. But I guess, hey, it is what it is. And so I ain't done yet. I got some things I'm gonna say. I can't wait to see you. Yes, we're gonna have to link up for real this time. For real this time. I promise you, we're gonna link up when I get there. So yeah, hit me up, give me your phone number, and I'm gonna text you and hit you up, call you, and definitely we're gonna link up, Tanisha. We gotta hang out, catch up on some things for real, cause family first. They can't never get too busy for family. But this is the thing, y'all, because like I said, I got some things that I want to share, man. And given that he mentioned that those researchers and that statistic to say that that's the number one complaint that interns have, supervisees have of supervisors, is that they're demeaning and that they're disrespectful. I'm like, damn, that's head on, because that's what I'm dealing with this woman here, my supervisor. And I can't mention her name for confidentiality reasons, but I would other than that, And I told my colleagues about my experience today, like, oh, sorry to hear that you're going through this. And I'm just like, yeah, man. It is what it is. But I'm a person, like, I feel like I can handle this. And I like a challenge, because even before I started my supervision, these leaves are falling, y'all. Before I started my supervision, I actually filled out this survey form that my supervisor gave me, asking me basically just what are my goals and what I want to work on and da-da-da. And I remember saying that I kind of want to be challenged. But to say that I want to be challenged is not to say that I want to be disrespected or demeaned or anything like that. Like, a person can be challenged and be able to grow and learn without a person stepping on them and just totally outright disrespecting them. And this whole power issue, I think that's the biggest thing, y'all. This power issue, right? And it was some things that came up, like I shared with you guys in our training, where her style, I'm not meshing well with her style, because she has a tendency to tell me what I didn't do in session when I know I did do it. Like, she's not even there in session. There are no cameras or none of that. It'd be one thing, okay, if she's referring to something that she saw that I did in session based on a video recording or whatever, but she just going based on her assumptions, which I have a huge issue with, right? Because I'll give her some content about what happened in session, and she'll just jump and say, oh, you didn't do this. And I'm like, no. And she does that not only with content that I share with her about my process, but also content about the client's process. And I'm like, no, that's okay. That may be your theory, that might be your hypothesis, but that ain't fact, man. You're so wrong. I'm trying to tell her, and that's one other thing. Like, she's not open to hearing it from my side. It's all about a one-way type of relationship with her, which I take huge issue in. Because, like, I have no problem in learning from. I'm there to learn. But I do have an issue when it's just one way, and she feel like there's nothing that I say matters. Like, she don't even ask me, okay, well, what's your theory? Or what is your direction that you're going to take with this client? And the few times that she kind of somewhat hinted towards that, she did it in a very still demeaning way. Like, she came back and dismissed what I wanted to do, or my perspective, and to say, okay, well, no, you should do this. This is better. She don't make it seem like, okay, well, perhaps this could be better. She's just like, no, forget that. you need to do, like, that's just your hypothesis. That don't mean that that's going to work. And that don't even mean that that's going to be effective for the client to meet the client where they're at. Like I know more about this client than she does. She only know based on what I tell her, and that's still not sufficient. It's like, you're not there. I'm in the room with her. I can pick up on the nonverbal. I can pick up on the body. She's not there. She's not there, and I doubt she's read any of my notes, and she is going based on a quick 2-minute snapshot of what I've shared, bits and pieces of her about my session. I'm like, lady, you all fucking wrong, man. It's so annoying. And I'll try to come in and tell her, okay, well, wait, that's not exactly what it is, to clarify something, because she'll go one direction, and I'm just like, that's not what I said the client said. That's not even what the client is experiencing. And then she'll be like, she just assumes, she try to make herself to be right, instead of saying, okay, well, help me understand. She's not even receptive. I'm like, lady, how many years have you been doing this? Like, for real? Because I feel like you fucking up my training experience. And we know it's a problem when you come in the way and fuck up my motherfucking goals. Oh, we gonna have some problems, baby. Because I feel like I'm on a path, man. I'm like, I'm going. You know what I'm saying? And when somebody or anything try to come in the way of that, it's gonna be trouble. Trouble, like I said in my post. It's like, I don't play about I take my education and my work very seriously. I don't play with that. And especially when I know that this person is supervising me, and then this person holds the power of the pen to do my evaluation, my midterm, my final evaluation, and she's going to, through her lens on how she sees me, because the relationship isn't going well, going to try to give me a bad evaluation, we're going to have some problems, you know. And then even my professor, I talked to my professor about this, right? And he's like, well, you know, you should tell her this. And I'm like, I did. It's been times that I went to her and I said, well, I think that there may be some countertransference. And the moment I said that, she automatically dismissed. She's like, oh, no, I ain't got no countertransference. I ain't got no, like, really? We all have countertransference. It's always transference and countertransference in the room. But she completely dismissed it. I'm like, how can there not be any countertransference? We're human beings. This is a relational type of relation. This is relational. There's always countertransference, and if you're going to dismiss it and not be aware of it, then something is wrong. Now, granted, her theoretical approach is CBT, so she's all about thoughts and behaviors. She's more behavioral than anything. I kind of get that sense, and she even mentioned that my focus is CBT. She said that several times in our last revision meeting that we had actually yesterday. She's like, I'm CBT, I'm CBT. I'm like, okay. CBT, yes, is effective, and I think one of the most empirically validated theoretical approaches, but I mean, to just dismiss the psychodynamic aspect of it, to understand that, okay, there's something going on a subconscious level between you and me that's deeper than whatever she's trying to take from our interaction. It's way deeper than that, because in her mind, as she's already verbalized, as though she said that, oh, I'm not receptive, I'm defensive. Like, that's what she told my training director at my school, because my training director told me this yesterday in our meeting. I'm defensive, like it's coming off that way, and I'm like, no. And here I am trying to state my case with my training director, and then my training director looking at me like, okay, but maybe you are defensive, because here I am trying to state my case. I'm like, no. If you're looking through a certain lens, then it's going to come off as defensive. If you're looking through from the perspective that, oh, I'm an intern, so I should just be, okay, a yes, ma'am. No, I'm not going to do that. Especially if I don't agree. If I don't agree, I'm going to say I don't agree, whether you like it or not. And I do it very respectfully, because I know my professor today, he was like, make sure you do it in a way that's respectful and professional. I'm always doing it in a way that's respectful and professional. I think, like I said, what it is that they don't want interns to disagree. And especially me. It's something about me. Something about my aura. I don't know. Like I say, it's more than a psychodynamic subconscious level. Maybe my dreads, because I don't comb my hair, so they're like, oh, she's rebellious, and that's communicating a certain kind of message, or I don't know, y'all, but I'm trying to figure it out, you know? And I'm like, I always do it in a very respectful way. And she's like, oh, we have this open door policy. Anytime you want to talk about whatever, you can come. That's bullshit. Because I've said it in supervision, one-on-one, or even in group, my perspective, and it gets rejected. They don't even try to take into consideration. They're like, oh, you're being defensive or you're being argumentative. The typical stereotype that is assigned to African American women. I'm like, okay, so I'm not allowed to have free thought. I'm not allowed to have my own opinion. Interesting. But when another intern speaks who is not of my same skin color, they all ears and be like, validating them and allowing them the opportunity to have their own, or to develop their own theoretical approach or conceptualization of what's happening with the client. But the moment I do it, it's like, oh no, that's not right. And it's interesting because these are people who are psychologists licensed, right? So they should know this. And it's one thing when you know something, but it's another thing when you apply it and you live it. I'm like, you're not even living it. You're not living it. You're not applying it. You just know the book knowledge. But you're not practicing what you preach. They're not. Like, how the hell are you going to say that it's okay and that you welcome this, you welcome a difference of opinion, you encourage students to have a free thought, to think critically, but then you're trying to impose what you think onto me, you're projecting. And even in my class today, we're talking about projective identification. Interesting, right? Which is basically a process that happens more on the subconscious level where a person is trying to control another person vicariously through you. And I feel like that's what my supervisor, my clinical supervisor at my site, is trying to do, trying to control me, trying to control herself, through me. By saying these things that she said, oh, you didn't process with your client, or you're not empathetic. That was the biggest thing. You're not empathic. And I'm like, interesting. But yesterday, come to find out, she actually admitted to the group, in the group supervision, that she's not empathic towards certain populations. And I said, I wonder which populations do you feel less interested in working with, right? Are you less inclined to work with? And she came directly out and said, I don't do people with substance abuse, and I don't do teenagers. Very nonchalantly, like, I don't do them. I don't do them. And she went on to talk about how, like, the reason why, she didn't really go into detail about why not substance abuse, but she said with teenagers that she just would prefer to be able to work with the parent, which is understandable because a lot of people say that, like, it's not too much you can effect, not too much change you can effect with a teenager without their parent present to be able to effect change within the system in which that teenager lives. So of course that makes sense. And then she went on to kind of briefly talk about why she don't want to work with people with substance abuse, saying that, well, she just believed that she realized she's not empathic towards them and their struggle, their issue with substance abuse or dependency, and that she believes that people should just quit. But she's like, I know it's not that simple, but she's like, yeah, you should just quit, like, don't come up with excuses on why you use or whatever, just to stop doing it, right? That's her thinking. I didn't argue with that. I was just like, okay, that says a lot. That too alone, those two things alone says a lot. And I mentioned those two things with my professor today when I was talking to him. Oh my gosh, the freaking smoke. When I was talking to him about the issues that I'm having with my supervisor, and we're talking about projective identification, and I'm like, it kind of came full circle. It makes sense. And my inclination is right, that she is trying to control parts of herself through me, because I'm like, what she's saying, the feedback that I'm getting from her is just not making sense, like telling me I need to do this in session when I am doing it, telling me that I'm not empathic when I am. I'm like, perhaps she's speaking more to herself and not me, which really does a disservice to me, because if she's trying to control or fix things within herself vicariously through me by telling me, by projecting these things onto me when it's not even true, don't even apply, and then here I am wondering like, okay, where is this coming from? Because it doesn't match up with what's actually true for me in my process with my clients in session. That's not even, ain't got shit to do with it. I'm like, that's way off. And one thing, okay, if she was head on, I don't have a problem with admitting when a person is head on. But if you completely miss the mark, I'm going to let you know that. And that's the reason why there has been this back and forth, and they're perceiving it as, oh, she's defensive. And I'm like, okay, this is the thing. In psychology, people want to assume that, oh, defensiveness is a bad thing. It's a negative connotation. A person is defensive. They're guarded. No. In human nature, it's a right. It's a reason why people defend themselves, right? It's a reason why people protect themselves. That's a natural thing. It's something that a person ain't got to think, oh, I need to defend myself, I need to protect. It's something that automatically happens. And so my inclination to say these things back to defend myself is rightfully so. I should be able to do that because, number one, she's dead ass wrong. Like, she's completely wrong in her assumptions of what's happening in session. I'm like, I have to correct this. Because for me to sit back and let her think that she's completely right, no, that's kind of feeding into this whole freaking psychotic situation that's happening. Even my professor said that. He was like, actually, for people who need to gain a sense of control, which I'm actually going to talk about next, they work well with people who are willing to feed into that control. And they give up that control to that person so that it works like a match. It fits together like a glove. And I'm like, interesting, because that's what's happening. So the more that I confirm and validate, which I have been doing, like I say, yes, I will defend myself and I discount what she said. I did that before, but after seeing that, oh, the supervisor, training director, wrote this letter to my training director at my school to say that, oh, I have these are the concerns I have about Danielle, which came up in the site visit yesterday in the meeting. I said, okay, let me fall back a little bit, right? Let me fall back and let me just not so-called argue with them, right? And see how that works. And I have been doing that for several weeks. Just taking this bullshit, right? And then it don't mean that they change anything. In fact, they're doing it, she's still doing it. You know, so like my professor said, that just feeds into that whole power dynamic. A person who needs to gain this power, it works well with a person who's given that power, and it just reinforces the whole freaking dysfunctional relationship. That's what's happening between me and my supervisor. Now, speaking to the whole thing about power, y'all, we've been having fires out here, and the air is just bad, y'all. But speaking to this whole thing about power, man, yes, I do get the sense that she is doing this to gain power, because I'm like, it has to be something deeper, because come on. She's completely missing me, completely missing the process that's happening, you know, in my therapy sessions. Like, I'm trying to explain to her, and she got a whole different thing that ain't got nothing to do with nothing, man. But it has something to do with something, if you consider maybe what's going on in her life. Because I'm like, perhaps she feels a lack of power in her own life, so she feels a need to take control and dominate. Because anytime you get a supervisor that's so domineering, you know, so controlling, so demeaning, that's coming from somewhere, from a psychodynamic perspective. That is coming from somewhere. You don't just use psychoanalysis on clients. It can be used in any type of situation. Business, professional relationships, it don't matter what kind of relationship. It can be used. And now my supervisor, who I'm talking about, she says her orientation is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is mainly rooted in behaviorism. I'm like, mine is more psychodynamic. And being that I look through a psychodynamic lens, I'm always analyzing situations you know. And I think that's one thing, because supervisors think that they're beyond analysis, and I'm like, no, sweetie, yes, you are a licensed psychologist, but I'm training to become one, so you're not immune to being analyzed. And I'm like, just as much as you're trying to evaluate me, I'm analyzing you. And I didn't say this to her, but my professor challenged me today to do it in a very sophisticated way. And I'm like, oh shit, here you go trying to open a can of worms. I'm like, your ass ain't the one that got to be evaluated. He was like, just do it, I challenge you. Don't just sit back and just take it, just do it. I'm like, come on, man. Like, come on now. But I don't know. Maybe I am. But I'm just doing it now, you know, in my vlog, which is my personal space, by the way. Like I said, I own this space. This is my personal space, and I have the right to do this. You know, I'm not releasing nobody's name or nothing like that. I'm just talking about my reaction, my process to this whole situation. And so I'm like, yeah, she has to have a deficit. Like, she feel like powerless in some area of her life. She feels incompetent, and she's trying to regain a sense of competency through me. That's exactly what it has to be, because for her to have this deterministic desire to, it keeps coming up, y'all. I swear, in every single supervision meeting. I wish y'all can be there with me, but I can't record it. They need to record these supervision meetings. That's what they should do. They got us sitting here doing recordings with our clients, but no, these supervision meetings need to be recorded, man, for real. Because the camera ain't gonna lie. And I'm sure if they were recorded, you probably wouldn't be able to see these things, because she would be more self-aware, and that's the issue. She's not aware of her own shit that's in the room, man. She's so focused on trying to control me. And let me check the time, because I do got class, 12:20, okay. But she's so busy trying to control herself through me that she's not even aware of these subconscious processes. For her to say, when I brought to the table that, okay, there's probably some transference or counter-transference in the room between me and you, I brought that up. I said that to her. She automatically, within a split second, dismissed it and be like, no, ain't no kind of transference. It ain't me. It ain't. I'm like, okay. Like, now she getting defensive. So I look at this is a two-way street, baby. It ain't all about one way where you just giving me this and this and this. And yes, I'm sure I can learn a lot from her, because she has experience with clients. But I also have experience with clients, you know, and I also have a lot to bring to the table too, which she just discounts, she dismisses. She don't want to know what's my perspective, what's my theoretical approach, what's my plan for my client. And like I said, even when she tried to act like she concerned about what my take is, she completely dismisses. So you might as well say she don't want to know, because she got this face the whole entire time looking at me like, come on, how is that open when you sit looking at a person like, we all know what that look mean. She looking at me like this, and a lot of times you see her with her arms folded, like what you got to say? I'm like, really? That's quite different than how our relationship started in the beginning, which really I feel maybe ain't that quite different, because in the beginning, I remember the first time we met, we sat down, she wanted to meet me. Well, she really wasn't supposed to meet me until that following week, but she was just so anxious to learn about who I am. I'm like, okay, she want to meet me. So she asked us, you know, for us to meet, and this was like, you know, back in September. And she's like, got a few minutes? And I was like, yeah, let's talk. And so she was asking me, you know, about my history, da da da. And then she gonna say, oh, we gonna be all right, you know. And then she called me Sugar Plum. All right, Sugar Plum. I'm like, that's so unprofessional. But I guess that was her way of trying to establish rapport. I'm like, no, I ain't your Sugar Plum. I ain't nobody's Sugar Plum. Call me by my name, Danielle. But she was like, oh, we gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. I'm like, it's gonna be all right. Where is this coming from? Like, this is a professional relationship. Like, you're my supervisor. I'm not your client. You know what I'm talking about? It's gonna, the fuck? So of course, I ain't say nothing. I'm just processing this with you guys, just saying it to you guys or whatever. But no, I ain't say nothing. I just like, okay. in my mind, like, interesting. Interesting statement. It's gonna be alright. But yeah, back to the whole power thing. I feel like it gotta be someplace in her life, probably in her own practice, where her ass probably feel like a lack of power, man. It got to be. And I wonder what's going on. What does her personal life look like? What does her practice? She claims she got her own private practice, and I went to her website because, oh baby, I'm an investigator. I'm an investigator, baby. I spend hours digging deep on somebody and looking them up, like, cause you ain't, like I said, you ain't gonna come in between me and my education. We're not doing that. And so, yeah, I went on her website, which ain't too. I'm looking at her website. It ain't too impressive to me, to be honest, because y'all know I have several websites that I own. I'm like, okay. But she got a website, so it's good. It's good that she got a website, but I wasn't necessarily impressed by it. I'm like, interesting for her to be like, because I swear, and the reason why y'all, I know y'all probably like, damn, that's cold, but listen, because I'm saying this in response to for somebody who just, she, like, the way her interaction with me is just like, okay, she's the supervisor. She's the licensed one. She knows everything. I don't know shit. I need to shut my mouth. I don't need to say, okay. But I'm looking at her website and I'm like, okay, your website is not that impressive. This is what I'm thinking in my mind. Your website is not that impressive. And then I noticed, like, her services. She got her services laid out. And then her services, she talking about, she offer limo rides, right? Where you can do therapy in a limousine. And I'm like, okay. Now, on one hand, person may say, oh, that's creative. That's different, right? Because you have all different types of approaches to therapy and different frameworks, that people can work in to get better, right? Some people go outside and they go, and walks in a park, or, they may go camping or something like that, out in nature or something like that, right? But we still have to abide by legal and ethical codes, And I'm wondering, how does the legal and ethical code apply to doing therapy in a limousine? I mean, considering there is a driver, and you're talking about going around a city with a client, where the client is talking about the deepest, darkest secrets and insecurities, and you have a driver there who could possibly hear. Now, granted, limousines are kind of long, right? We know that. And so if you're in the back, there stands a very small likelihood that the driver is going to be able to hear what's being said because of the distance. But some people, like myself, have some really good eyes and really good ears and can really hear very well. And not only that, you have people that record, just like Lyft drivers have they record, cab drivers have they cameras, they record for their own personal safety. Limousines, they can record too. People can record and have all kind of devices throughout the limousine recording, right? And I'm just wondering, how does that factor into confidentiality? Because to me, that don't seem very confidential. It really don't. And then she comes in and talking about, oh, well, yeah, I'm so booked. I'm always booked, right? Like bragging about how booked she is and how a client was calling her to, I guess, book a session or something, but she didn't have space or something like that. Like, okay. And you're saying this in supervision because, like, how does this relate to our training? Is that just to fluff up your own feathers? Like, you can I pick up on a lot of stuff. Like, trust me, I'm very attentive to detail. That's why I say one person can't say I don't pay attention to detail, because your girl is all eyes and ears. I pay attention. And I'm listening to her say this, and I'm like, okay, that's, on one hand, that could be motivating, because to know that, okay, you work with somebody who is African American, and You know, they're licensed as a psychologist, which you're trying to become, and they have, you know, a good caseload of clients, and that's something maybe you can aspire to. So on one hand, that can be motivating. But also on the other hand, I'm looking at it from a different analytical view, and I'm just like, okay, so the reason why she's saying is like the need to show yourself that you're competent, that you got like why is that necessary, right? And then y'all, it's a small world. I tell you, it's a small world. It's a small world because just the other day I was talking to one of my colleagues, you know, about my current experiences at my current practice site. Same practice site, same situation. But I was talking to my other colleague about it, and I told her the doctor's name. You know, I can't tell y'all, but I told her the doctor's name, and she was like, "Who?" She's like, "What's her first name?" And I gave the first name, and she was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'm like, "I'm like, what?" And she took a while to tell me because she was so shocked. She was like, "Oh my gosh, for real?" She was like, "That's your supervisor?" And I was like, "Yes." And I'm like, "What? Tell me what's going on. Like, tell me." She was like, "Girl, I'm so glad you told me this." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Because she said, I actually had reached out to her because she was going to get her to be her therapist. Now, within our program, we have to complete a certain number of hours of therapy. That's just standard across the board. We have to. I don't know, one of my freaking videos breaking up, but we have to do a certain number of hours of therapy. And so actually, I say, so that's to complete your hours of therapy. She's like, no, I'm already complete with that, which I am also, right? But she was like, I just, want to get therapy for myself. And I'm like, that's good because that's the same thing for me. Like, even though we completed our hours, like, we still recognize the benefit of ongoing therapy. And I have a psychologist in Beverly Hills who's great, by the way. And so she was like, yeah. And I actually reached out to her and, I was going to get her to be my therapist, but I'm so glad you told me this because I don't want to now. And I'm like, I say, well, don't let me deter you away. I say, that's just my personal experience as her supervisee. I said, she may be a different way when it comes to working with clients. And she was like, nah. She was like, if she that way with supervisees, I know she's going to be the same way in working with clients. She's like, I don't need nobody with that kind of personality, like so controlling and just dismissive and not really trying to hear a person. Because, like, it's important that you don't, just because you have all these education credentials and you may consider yourself as an expert, but you don't want to necessarily communicate that to your client in a way that, okay, you know everything and they know nothing, because that's not true. If anything, the client knows a lot about themselves, and then the therapist should be very open to listening to that, right? But you have some therapists that just, like herself, got all the answers, all the answers, and like, this is what you should. I'm like, okay, which makes me want to know, like, okay, how many years have you been licensed? What does your experience look like? Like, seriously, for real, that you just that competent and you just know all the answers and so sure on what to do with the client. Like, way too sure. It's like, I'm kind of skeptical of that, you know? So sure that even if you were to offer, let's say, a different approach or different treatment suggestion, she's like, nah. I'm like, okay, interesting. But she's like, yeah, I find it quite interesting because I noticed on her website that she makes you put in your debit card information just to book an appointment. And I'm like, or no, she said just to request consultation services or something like that. Like just to reach out, to initiate services, not even to pay for services, but just to initiate that you have to put your debit card information in. And I was telling my colleague, well, I say that could be standard practice because I know my psychologist who I was seeing, the male, where he worked at, they have this, the agency that he works, his company have this policy where they take debit cards from their clients, even if you're paying with insurance, which I paid with insurance. It was like, they just do that as a backup, I guess, just in case the insurance falls through, or is canceled, then they do have another form of payment to make sure that they get paid. So I say he does that, so that's kind of standard practice, but it's kind of interesting that she would do that just off rip. I mean, you ain't even went in for an evaluation to even see that it's going to be a good match, and they already, like, before you even book the appointment, the very first appointment, you have to put in your debit card information. So, and it was like, she said that her site said that you weren't going to be charged, but they just need that to hold it. And she was just like, that kind of turned her off. And I'm like, interesting. But I told my colleague, I said, don't let me change your mind. Like, I'm not telling you this story because I didn't even know that she knew her. You get what I'm saying? But that goes to show you it's a small world. And I'm like, don't let me change your mind. I definitely don't want to do that. Like, I'm just telling you based on my own experience with her. Like, honestly, I wouldn't recommend, from the way things have gone up until this point, I would not recommend any student to be supervised by her, to be honest. I'm like, nah, I don't want nobody going through what I went through. But who knows how it's going to be. Like, my training director from my school, she was kind of very hopeful and just encouraged me to say that things could turn around, and she thinks that they will, and she wishes the best for me and this relationship kind of coming to a repair between me and my supervisor. And I'm like, thank you, because I'm very hopeful too in all aspects of my life, and I believe that things can turn around for the better. But the way things have been going, I'm like, I don't know, and it is getting kind of warmer, man, out here. I'm like, I don't know. We're gonna have to see. But interesting. Kiss ass? No, definitely not me. I'm not an ass kisser, but reason why I titled my video ass kisser is because that's the impression that I'm getting from my supervisor, as if that's what they're expecting of me. Just to be like, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. And I'm like, no. Not that I'm just in there just disagreeing with everything they say. That's not true. That is not true. Because if something is funny, I laugh. And my supervisor, my training director, actually, she tells a lot of jokes, and I laugh. Even the other one, the guy, he tells jokes, which I think humor is good to use in supervision, and I laugh, and they've said some very potent things, that were true and have a lot of validity to it, and I agree. You'll see me shaking my head, and I'm like, yeah, so it's not like I'm like, oh no, I disagree, I oppose that. Like, that's not the case either. But there are times when I do feel like, okay, I have a difference of opinion or perspective, and I want to put it in there and let it be known. And it's just like, who are you as an intern to have an opinion? Which I take issue with. And I think that's the biggest issue. This whole power dynamic thing, and her just taking this approach like it's her job to change me. Because I got that sense, like, she's trying to come, like, she's just trying to, it's something about me, my character, something about my aura, something that she maybe is picking up on that she doesn't like, she's responding to. Because you can sense, like, you can tell. And then my clinical director from my school, she was like, well, have you talked about this with her? And I'm like, yeah, in so many different ways, but I don't think she's not quite getting it. She's very, talking about, I'm defensive. No, she defensive. She's quick to be like, no, that ain't me, no. I'm like, okay. I don't know if she got kids or what, and she just trying to be a mother, and because she don't have kids. I'm like, I ain't your child, and I ain't your client. And I'm not going to play neither role of your child or your client. I'm your supervisee, and I'm here to learn. Understand one thing about me is that I am very inquisitive. I'm a person that yes, I have my own mind. And what they put down, like what she put down in the email to my training director at my school was, oh, Danielle kind of do her own thing. That ain't what it is. Just see, you gotta be specific when you come to describing me. It ain't that. Cause do your own thing. That makes it seem like you're just rebellious. You don't follow policy. You just out there doing what you want to do because you don't. No, no. I would not have made it this far in the program if I was just doing my own thing. No. Or even in life in general, if that was the case. That is definitely not the case. I would be in jail if I was doing my own thing. Never been arrested, knock on wood. So get it straight. But I do have my own way of thinking, which everybody I think should. I mean, we're adults. We all should be free thinkers and independent thinkers, and not have to just agree with the group because everybody else say yeah and they want to eat chocolate ice cream, so you gotta say, oh, I like chocolate. No, you can have your own mind. If you don't like chocolate, say, okay, I like vanilla. Like, be different. If you're different, then it's okay to express that. And I think the difference with me is that compared to other people, there's other people have their own mind and think freely, but for me, I vocalize that sometimes, not all the time, because I know when to be quiet and I know when to pick my battles, but sometimes I can't help it, and I'm just like, sometimes I will speak up. I do that in my class. I'm like, wait a minute. I know that the theory says this, but maybe it's missing this component, and I will offer that, right? And for the most part, my professors are very receptive, but in supervision, sure, it's a different vibe. It's different, and I feel like they not receptive. I'm not receptive. They not receptive. Receptivity goes both ways, so we're gonna see how this shit play out the rest of these months. And it's sad, like my colleague said, like she was like, it's sad that you're going through this, and she was like, I know, your experience could be much better because she's like, I know that having this rupture with my supervisor, it impacts everything. But for me, I'm like, I gotta be the stronger person, and I have to definitely know how to pick my battles and to not let this so much impact my working relationship with my clients. Like, I can't let this shit spill over, which I'm not. Because like I said, that goes back to what I was saying about my supervisor. I feel like she not even aware of whatever personal shit she got going on, or her personal or business life as in private practice that she says she own or whatever. It's like it's coming over into her supervisory relationship with me. I can tell because I'm like, that it's bigger than this relationship. When the way the interaction, I'm like, I ain't did nothing to her, and what she's speaking to ain't got shit to do with nothing in terms of my sessions with my clients. So it's a lot of projection, man, and it's projective identification. She trying to control something that's fucked up in her own life through me. And that deals with, you guys can learn more about this if you guys just search object relations. Is the theory and psychodynamic theory. It's powerful, y'all, and it will tell you a lot about how people relate to other people. It says a lot. And my professor, he was like, maybe you should bring it to her attention. And he was like, not in the sense of blaming or accusing, but just in the form of curiosity and relating it back to theory. He was like, oh, you can't go wrong if you bring theory into it. I'm like, okay, it sounds good in theory. But, I said like in a joking way. I said, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I'm like, I doubt she's going to be open to it. We'll see. If a person does not see life through that lens, then she ain't going to be able to understand it. She's going to be like, yeah, she's just another person trying to rationalize. It's like they'll use theory on you to defend themselves, but they're not going to use theory on themselves to better understand the relationship, to have a better working relationship, with the people that they're working with. So I'm like, yes, I'm always introspective and trying to find ways that I can improve, and I have. I've made changes, like I said. I've tried okay, yeah, okay, oh, sure. Yeah, I've tried all that shit. Kissing ass and the agreeing and all. I've tried all of that, and still back here at square one. And that shit is not me. It's not authentic. I can act. I'm a good actor, you know, but it doesn't feel authentic. You get what I'm saying? It just doesn't. And I'm like, no, that ain't gonna work. But I feel like that's what they want, because I notice when I've done that, when I say it doesn't work for me, because I don't feel good in doing that or being authentic. But I think it does work for them because we don't have no disagreements. It's just like, okay, supervision goes smoothly. Because my training director, she asked me, she was like, well, when you make the adjustments, because I told her, I said, actually, I did try that approach, and I made some adjustments, and my supervisor, one of her suggestions was that I basically stick to the details and talk really fast and just whatever, so that she don't have to listen to me talk, because it seemed like just me talking was just annoying her, so whatever, right? So like I implemented that, and I just spilled it all out there, got it out, said it really fast in terms of my case delivery. And she was like, so how did it work? And I say, well, I guess it went well because didn't have any concerns. I mean, she ain't say nothing to me or whatever, or we didn't have any disagreements, but I don't know if that's helpful for me to do that. But she was like, okay, if it worked, it worked. She made it seem like, okay, maybe that's what you should continue doing. I'm just like, whatever. That, I feel like, yes, I can change in terms of my communication style with respect to my case delivery, right? I can do that. But that don't mean that, okay, changing in terms of when we're discussing theory and how I can apply it to my clients, and if I have a perspective and I want to share it with her, I feel like I should be able to share it, but I don't seem like she's too open to that. She's too fucking rigid, man. Somehow, I'm CBT. Well, I'm psychodynamic, and the interesting thing is that the site is psychodynamic. The site is psychodynamic. The site is family systems. Those are the theories that predominantly most therapists use, but her ass is CBT. I'm like, how the fuck this gonna work? But anyway, y'all, I do have to go. I just can't be no ass kisser, so we're gonna see how all this shit play out. And I'm like, your girl ready for whatever. I already said this. Like, yes, this could be a very challenging moment in my education, in my life. But I've been through a hell of a lot more worse shit than this. That I survived. And your girl is pretty tough. I got thick skin, so it ain't about that I can't take criticism or I can't. No, I can take a lot of shit in life, and I've worked through a lot of shit in my life, because the quickest thing I think how they would try to go is like, oh, well, she's having these issues, maybe she need to go to therapy. No, I'm good, and I have a therapist, but let's not make it about, oh, the problem is me. Let's make it about the relational dynamic between me and my supervisor, to look at what's happening on both sides of the table. Because obviously there's counter-transference and transference that's going back and forth that's causing this barrier between me and her and the learning process. And let's talk about that. Let's not sit up here and scapegoat me and be like, oh, it's all you, it's all... No. Because you can take me and place me with a different supervisor and things go well. And I've seen that happen even at my current site, where there's another supervisor. He happens to be a white male. Not to say white men are better than black women supervisors, but I'm just saying. He happens to be a white male, and we mesh. We good, He listens. He uses humor. It's a bi-directional kind of relationship where I'm saying different things, my perspective. He's open to that. He says his, and we learning, both learning. Because you never get to a point where you just stop learning. Or everything, but it feels like that's where she is, where she feel like, okay, I got my degree, you need to get yours, and I'm like, it ain't working, but thankfully, I can't wait, and it should still be this way, where we rotate, so I'll have him as my supervisor second go around, And we should see how this goes, you know. If the devil don't try to come in and try to pair me with another supervisor, because I think she got, like, the train director got this idea, like, oh, well, my job here is to ruffle your feathers and to pull your coattail. And basically, all that translates into is to make your life a living hell, try to make your time more difficult than what it needs to be. Why? I ain't gaining shit from that. And I promise you, I will make sure, which I've already have been doing, that nobody else from the school go there. And it's, like I said, it's the reason why people don't go to that site. And maybe that's what they want. Maybe they don't want students from that site. And if you don't want it, then why the fuck you on the list? You can take yourself off if you don't want it, but they obviously need the help because we provide free labor. We take on these client caseloads, which means that they don't have to do it. We do the work. So they benefit from, us being there. But I'm like, for real, this is how y'all gonna treat the interns? Like, for real? For real? Not Danielle. And so whatever is gonna happen, whatever it's gonna be is gonna be. Like I said, I'm open to learning. I'm learning. I'm open to growing from this experience because, yes, I do believe that it's a growing experience, and I can gain something from it. But yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. We definitely gonna see how this goes. And my freaking skin. What time is it? How y'all doing, by the way? I got like 10 minutes for my class start. How y'all doing? Who's tuning in? I'm mighty quiet. Yeah, and my words is this, because I say this, it ain't just about me, man. It's important that I maintain my sense of autonomy and self-respect because I'm a leader, man. I got people that follow me and are influenced by me. I'm an influencer, and that matters. Yes, it matters that we all have our own power. It ain't so much, oh, I need so much power. No, we all need power, not to be disempowered, So, yes, that is important. And you ain't about to sit up here and disempower me, lady. Or call yourself trying to change me. You gotta do all that. I think that's the thing, though. I think some people mind, they think, oh, well, in order to train this person, I gotta come in and just cause this rupture and then come in and try to fix them. No. No, baby. That ain't how you do training. Especially not with Danielle. That may work for some other people. That ain't working for me. That ain't working for me. Because I feel like that's slowing down the process. And whatever you're trying to teach me up until now, yes, I was able to take, like they say, when a person gives you something, you can just take the meat and throw away the bone. So I learned how to take certain parts that I feel are necessary for me to learn and then throw the other shit away, man. But like I said, a lot of shit she's talking about, shit ain't relevant. Her delivery is all off, and I think that's where people go wrong because they think that the best way for people to learn is to deliver it in a confrontational way or a demeaning way or an accusatory way, and that's how it's gonna stick. Nah, that ain't how shit gonna stick. Not with Danielle. I don't know. And like I already said, I ain't giving credit to these motherfuckers when it comes to my success and me getting my PhD. I ain't giving credit to the motherfuckers. I give credit to the people who treat me with respect and kindness, how I should be treated. Not people who want to sit up here and come with this kind of approach like I'm a fucking prisoner. Because, nah, you ain't better come at me like that and then treat other interns like they fucking queens and goddesses. It ain't happening. But y'all know what? I gotta go. I'm gonna catch you guys later. Y'all mighty quiet. Feel free to share your thoughts and comments below. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Love you guys. Bye.